Felon 47 is actually attacking the world order, not just Venezuela. What do we know so far? We definitely know he doesn't want us talking about the Epstein files. So I'm not going to do any more videos about Venezuela because other people are handling that, right? I'm going back to the Epstein files because there's a bunch of juicy stuff that we should be talking about. It's definitely not about the drugs. We know that.
The story about this administration being focused on eradicating American society of drugs is absolute BS because Donald Trump went and pardoned. He's walking free now. The former Honduran president who trafficked 400 tons of cocaine into America. Why did he get to leave prison early? He had a 45-year sentence, which, by the way, Trump administration #1 prosecuted him because Roger Stone is his buddy and because he wrote Donald Trump a letter calling him Your Excellency.
But we also know he's such a liar. It's just so hard to keep track of the shit he says, right?
A whole lot of lies about a whole lot of subjects. Well, he said that he's cutting prescription drug prices by 500% to 900%. He said that's something nobody's ever heard of. Well, nobody's ever heard of it because those numbers don't make mathematical sense. He said, again, grocery prices are down. No, they're up. They're up 2.7% year over year as of September, 1.4% from the month he returned to office in January. He said since last January, we've stopped inflation in its tracks. Well, the inflation rate in September, the most recent we had, was 3% year over year. That is the exact same as it was in January. And September was the 5th consecutive month the year-over-year rate had increased. So it's rising. It hasn't been a stop. He said he inherited the worst inflation in history. No, again, he inherited 3% inflation. Even the peak Biden-era inflation, Dana, 9.1% in June 2022, was not close to the all-time record. He said we're now at about $2.50 for gasoline. You can find some stations today where gas is $2.50 or less, but the national average was right around exactly $3. He said his big, beautiful bill included no tax on Social Security. Didn't do that. It temporarily increased the standard deduction for seniors, but didn't fulfill his campaign pledge to completely eliminate tax on Social Security. He said again that he secured over $18 trillion in investment since returning to office in January. That number is about double the number the White House's own website uses.
But it's just bigger than that. I mean, he actually wants Greenland. He wants Greenland. He wants Canada to be the 51st state or not. He just wants it. And he also wants Mexico because suddenly they want the whole Western Hemisphere. They're going to take us back to like the 1920s, Little House on the Prairie land. You know, the imperialistic visions that people thought of that back then, that they wanted to conquer the whole Western Hemisphere because that's how we do things now. And Stephen Miller told us what the world is now about, what the United States is now about.
The United States of America is running Venezuela. By definition, that's true. Jake, we live in a world in which you can talk all you want about international niceties and everything else. But we live in a world, in the real world, Jake, that is governed by strength, that is governed by force, that is governed by power. These are the iron laws of the world, which is that by definition, we are in charge because we have the United States military stationed outside the country. We set the terms and conditions. We have a complete embargo on all of their oil and their ability to do commerce. So for them to do commerce, they need our permission. For them to be able to run an economy, they need our permission. So the United States is in charge.
And Netanyahu just happened to be here in the United States getting a deal for Boeing. Huge Boeing airplanes. And Boeing was just about to go under. They gave $1 million to the campaign. Do you remember when Donald Trump said this?
People love that I'm self-funding because, you know, I play the game as well as anybody's ever played it. I know politicians, I've dealt. And when you give somebody $1 million, $2 million, $5 million to run, that's your person. And if you have a company or if you have a country that you're representing, if it's a lobbyist or something, representing China or one of these countries that are ripping us off, and they're giving a lot of money to the candidates, believe me, those candidates are absolutely in the bag, and they will sell out the folks. They will sell out our country in order to take care of their donors. And, I mean, who understands that better than I do? So the fact that I'm the only self-funder, it's called self-funder, but I put up all my own money, and you know what? People love it. I think it's one of the reasons I'm leading by so much, because I can't be bought.
Wow, how things have changed. Because I'm just so rich, I can't be bought. And also, you know, when Trump just happened to just pull out of his ass the Somalis, that was important because that had to do with Israel too.
am I understanding this correctly? A right-wing YouTuber broke the story of the year exactly after he gets back from a trip to Israel, a country who just announced their recognition of Somaliland, which is conveniently located on the canal across from Yemen, who's been blocking warships carrying weapons for them so that they can continue their G-side. And all of this happened the same week that Netanyahu is in the US accepting a deal for billions of dollars in warplanes built by Boeing, which is a company that was sinking, but instead donated $1 million to Trump, and then he bought a ton of stock in. And now they're getting a multi-billion-dollar government contract, and all of this happened at the same time. And you guys don't get it. You don't know what's happening next year. You don't see it.